First, I'll go over the correct finger tricks for F2L, and then I'll tell you why it's important for look ahead. So the reason there are correct finger tricks is because most of the time your thumbs start on the front and end on the front for any F2L case. So for this reason, you have to minimize regrips like this and this, because if you start an algorithm like this, you will also end like this. So it's better to always start and end with thumbs on the front. Now, if your left hand is out of the standard grip, then there are different ways you can do U prime as well. Typically, the best way is to use your right hand, so it doesn't matter what grip your left hand is in. So the first way you can do it is like this, which is pretty convenient because your right index finger should already be around here, but it does require a little bit more strength than usual. The next way is like this, which is a lot easier to perform consistently, but it requires your finger to move all the way over here. So the most popular version typically is this one. Now there are two more ways you can do U prime depending on the grip of your left hand. If your thumb is on the top, then you can do it like this. And if your thumb is on the bottom, then you can do it like this. But this one is really situational, and you typically shouldn't use it for F2L. Now for doing U, if your right hand is not in the standard grip, then you can just mirror all the things that I said. Then lastly, there's U2, which is index middle, which can be done with the other hand as well. And this takes a lot of practice to get the middle finger to hit the layer right, but it's pretty important. So this can be done with either hand, but say you're doing a right slot and you do this, then you can't do it with the right hand anymore because you have to have your thumb on the front. So then in this case, you have to know how to do it with your left hand as well. So for this F2L case followed by this case, it's most natural to want to regrip like this to start, and then regrip for this one. But the better way to do it is without regripping, so keeping your thumbs on the front when you start. So this can be done like this. And that U prime doesn't have to be done the way I did it. You can do it any of the other ways. And then here, like this. And again, the U doesn't have to be done that way exactly. Now, it's not that obvious why look ahead is affected by finger tricks, but it actually is. So the reason your finger tricks helps with look ahead is because look ahead is determined by time and turn speed. And I'll explain what I mean. So every F2L case has a beginning state, and in this case, it includes all the pieces around the cube as well, not just these two, because you want to know what slot you're going to do next. And then every F2L case also has an end state, which is what it looks like afterwards. So whenever you start any case, it would be really nice to know what the end state is so you know what pair you're going to do next. Of course, you can't know it right away, but you'd rather know it sooner than later. Then there's turn speed. It's very hard to look ahead if you're turning super fast compared to if you did the same case but a little bit slower. So to explain my point, here I have two slow motion versions of me doing that algorithm. Now on the left side, you're going to see me regrip before I start, and on the right side, I'm not going to regrip. So both clips begin as soon as I recognize this case, which means on the right side, I'm going to start turning sooner because I don't regrip. I've synced these clips so that they end at the exact same time. In other words, I stop turning at the same time. The only difference is finger tricks, but that does affect look ahead because we're going to look at those two aspects. The first one is time, or what I'm seeing at what time. On the left side, you can see that I spend more time before turning starts, which means I spend more time looking at the starting state, not at the ending state. So of course, both ways of executing it ended at the same time, but I'm going to pause it right here. And you can see that up until the very end, the right side is always slightly closer to the end state. And being slightly closer to the end state is good because I'm closer to knowing what my next F2L case is going to be. And now turn speed. Because both cases took the same amount of time, but on the left side I had to pause first as I regripped, then clearly I had to turn faster on the left side to make up for that pause. The F2L case is 7 turns either way, which means the right side is actually turning a little bit slower. And because it's turning slower but getting the F2L case done in the exact same amount of time, then no time is sacrificed, but look ahead is made easier. So again, with no regrips, I get closer to the end state sooner, and I also don't have to turn as fast for the exact same F2L case to take the exact same amount of time. Therefore, it's better for look ahead. Now, look ahead aside, one thing I want to address about these finger tricks is when you start with R prime or start with L. So to solve this case, we're going to do R prime U, and anytime you start with a downward move, so R prime or L, then if you're trying to do U with the other hand, then it can be a little bit less comfortable. If you're going upwards, then for some reason it always feels fine, but if you're going downwards, it can feel a little bit weird. So if you're on a big cube, I think it's better to just pick the simpler option. But if you're on 3x3, then I think you could do this. I personally am not that comfortable with it, but I don't see any problems with it. It's just something that most people are not used to. So because I don't really know of anyone who consistently does that, then I'm not going to give a full recommendation on it, but I do believe it's better. So earlier I showed solving an F2L case like this without regrips, and I don't know if that's necessary because I don't see anyone do it, but it's just something you can think about. So it's been 1 week, 7 tips, 7 videos. Let me know what you guys thought of that. And if you haven't seen the previous videos, then you can click the link in the description to take you to the advanced F2L playlist. So that's it on advanced F2L look ahead for now. I'm going to be getting into different topics in the near future. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.